tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hey there, Saul fans. Welcome to AfterBuzz TV, talking about Better Call Saul, Season 1, Episode 3, Nacho. I'm Matt Lieberman. Joining me on the panel all season long, Mr. Zach Wilson is here.
Hey guys, thanks for joining us.
And Stephen Lemieux is here.
Hey guys.
And Pegah Rad is here.
What's up?
Hey, so another week, another great episode of Better Call Saul. So excited to talk about it. Now, there was a bit of a mix-up on Twitter. I tweeted out that we had a big guest this week, but we actually have a guest coming next week.
Yes, next week we're very excited to welcome Ray Seahorn to the panel.
Ray Seahorn, who plays
AKA
Kim on the show.
Yeah.
The blonde lawyer.
It's gonna be fun.
Yes, the blonde lawyer.
The blonde lawyer.
Blonde lawyer.
Yes, our only female main character. Yes.
So far.
So far.
So far.
This is coming on the show. We're really excited about that. We got to get to know her a little bit this week. What'd you guys think of this episode?
It was great. The thing that really stood out to me from this episode, I think this is going to be like more of our new status quo, if you will, of the episode. There wasn't any big dragging anyone into the desert or like at gunpoint. Like there's a metaphorical gun pointed at Jimmy, but overall, this was him going out and dealing with a case. He had to go into the field, like figure out what he was going to do, how he was going to solve this problem. It was like ostensibly like a simple thing. Where did these people go? It wasn't, I have to not get shot.
Yeah. There's that balance that a serialized show will often make, especially when it's a crime show, where you do kind of have these almost cases of the week. You have this sort of serial procedural element, and it's just basically, I have a problem, I need it solved by the end of the day, and it is finding this family. He's got this theory, no one will listen to him, and it's just a great ride. What'd you think, Steve?
I enjoyed it. I thought it was it didn't have that like huge charm that the last episode had, but it did have its moments. I think that it's just kind of they're kind of getting their pace down. Like the first 3 episodes are usually what you do that for a new series, is to get the pace down, introduce the characters. And if the first episode was introducing Saul, second Jimmy, I'm never going to get used to that. Anyway, introducing Jimmy, and the second episode really kind of put on his relationship with his brother, introduced Nacho. This episode really kind of gave us his relationship with Kim.
And with Mike.
With Mike. So it's slowly building out the series' regular relationships. That way, when it's further down the line, things make more sense, which any good show needs to do, but it also means that they're putting a good foundation for what's coming next.
Yeah. What about you, Pegah?
I loved this episode. I found myself kind of trying to look for clues during the whole thing and trying to figure it out one step ahead of Jimmy, but couldn't really do it. But yeah, it was good. Liked it.
What I liked most about this episode is it's very much a tone setter, and it could have been dull, and it could have just been a disposable mystery of the week, but because it's a really solid continuation of the pilot. You look at these 3 episodes, I think, as you were saying, Stephen, I think very effectively they work as one piece, where we're setting up all of the elements for this season 1 story, and I have to think that a lot of the episodes are going to feel like this, where we're solving an active problem, we're laying groundwork for new complications, we end up with a great cliffhanger and a great moral dilemma for Jimmy to sort through, as we ended last episode. And I feel like as we're watching him continue to wade further and further, inadvertently or advertently, into the criminal underworld, we're going to see him continue to be faced by these moral quandaries, like finding the money that he almost ripped off and that he wanted to represent them to not rip off. Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it felt like a classic. Just, I mean, again, it's the same people. The way a Breaking Bad episode ends with just like big twist, either a confirmation or a reveal. This was a confirmation, but just drawing you back where you want to see it again. You want I want episode 4 right now.
Yeah.
I don't want to wait.
Yeah.
Well, they could have ended it a multitude of ways. I'm kind of glad they ended it this way, though, because it gets you excited and kind of wondering where he's going to go. The previews kind of give it away a little bit, but not too much that it feels like a spoiler.
I feel like there's room for things to take a very different direction, but we'll get into that later. I want to start by talking about this prologue, this cold open that takes place in the way past, back in Chicago when Slippin' Jimmy was getting up to no good. That hair on Michael McKean is just incredible. Well, the hair on Bob Odenkirk,
yeah.
his mullet. I'm like, how old is he supposed to be there? Is he supposed to be like 25?
Late 20s.
Yeah.
Late 20s?
Yeah, late 20s
Oh,
at the oldest.
Yeah, and oh man, I love that. And what I really liked is, and what continues to impress me about this show is it continues to raise and answer questions about this guy that I never had. And continuing to deepen him as a character, and having him be very firmly on the wrong side of the law, being this kind of con man figure in his 20s, and being forced to beg for his future to his brother, and he has to make a promise. We don't get to see what the promise is, and I guess I wanted to know what you guys thought it was. Does it involve being a lawyer? Is it just that he would never break the law again? We see how trepidatious he is about doing any serious crime. What do we think he promised Chuck all those years ago?
I assumed it, I guess it didn't even feel like a mystery to me. I assumed it was just no more scams. Because he talks about that in the pilot. He mentioned, like, I'm not going back to Slippin' Jimmy. This is not that. It's not that. That's what I assumed it was that it was as simple as just, I'm not going to con people anymore. He even refers to a con that he pulled. It was just his sold Miami... I forget what he called it, the Miami Shindig or whatever it was.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I just feel like he wants him to believe that he's going to change his ways. And this is, bail me out, and I swear I'll never do it again.
Well, I think he genuinely wants to never do it again.
Right.
We don't know what pushes him to go to law school. Maybe it's just because, well, now that conning is out of the question, my brother cleans up as a lawyer. Maybe that's why he goes and gets his degree or fakes his degree or whatever, what have you. I know American Samoan is not a real law school, but,
we getting a discussion on the YouTube.
Kim has some level of respect for him. Chuck has some level of respect for him. If he had a fake degree and everyone knew it from way back when, how did he get as far as he did?
I don't think it's the going back to Slippin' Jimmy, though. I don't think that's what he promised his brother, because the reason I say that is because in the first episode of the series, he goes to it so quickly. Like, if this is a scene they're showing us, something that meant a lot to him that's in his mind, and I'm assuming that's why they're showing it, because it shows his promise that he made to his brother, it means it's important. I feel if it was a promise not to be doing scams like that again, he wouldn't have gone back to it so quickly, and we would have seen a lot more of a decision going into it in the first episode. I feel that it could be either drug-related or the people he was dealing with.
I disagree, because I think that in this episode, he really is tempted by the allure of pulling a con. To like,
that's not a con, though.
Okay, that's a straight up robbery.
It's not strictly a con, but it is like playing a game to get people to give up the money. It's a criminal route to get somebody's money it's not yours. The distinction between a con and not a con, fine, but like ultimately, as far as his brother would be concerned, it's the same thing.
Yeah. I think it's being a criminal. I think there's a difference between a scam and being a criminal. And when you look at Saul and his brother,
Jimmy.
Sorry, I'm sorry, guys.
We're gonna yell at you every
We should get a jar,
time.
like a Jimmy jar.
Jimmy
Every time
jar?
you say Saul,
He can't afford that.
you
Yeah.
gotta put
I already have another show I owe money on for the pun jar, but for the Jimmy jar, it's just. God, it just threw me off.
You're absolutely right.
Let me finish my thought. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So with Saul, with Jimmy, it's just because you have that step from Jimmy to Saul, and the catchphrase of Saul is, don't get a criminal lawyer, get a criminal lawyer. His name has changed. He's a different person. I feel like there is a step when he decides he is not Charles or
Jimmy McGill.
No, his brothers.
He's not Chuck McGill.
Yeah, he's not Chuck McGill's brother. There is a decision he makes where he cuts ties with his family, and I think that's when he becomes a criminal, when he breaks that promise.
And decides he can be a lawyer and be in this criminal underworld.
Because I feel the first scene of this episode was really showing that he holds that promise dear close to his heart.
Absolutely. And I think that this thought is definitely spurred on. We see how freaked out he is. He's sleepless over this proposition from Nacho at the end of last episode. And he's definitely carefully thinking about what happened that day, the fact that his brother could have let him just twist in the wind. He could be in jail right now. He could be dead if he hadn't pledged to stop with the criminal BS. And now he's got this very profitable situation from a very bad guy who he is afraid of. He is afraid of and does not want to piss off. He doesn't want to say no to this guy. But at the same time, he doesn't know what to do. So what does he do? He calls up Kim, his sounding board, his one person that he can really communicate with. And we get to really get a sense of their relationship. Now, from all the discussion online and between all of us so far, I thought that, you know, she was somebody who they were close. He has feelings for her. She rebuffed them. But it seems a little more complicated than that. What do you think, Pegah?
Oh, there's absolutely more. She's like, "What, you're calling me to talk dirty at this time of hour? I'm not going to do it. Don't talk dirty to me." They've clearly had a physical past, I'm guessing. But yeah, I think there was definitely more. I don't know, how serious it got.
Do you think this is like an ongoing relationship then?
Maybe like a friends with benefits type thing.
I think I'm leaning closer to that. Yeah.
I see the history there as they were together. She told him to grow up because she was after the bad boy at that time, and then she grew out of it, and he never grew out of it.
I can see that.
I think that's plausible. Personally, for me, I think it's a... you know, maybe had one too many drinks at an office Christmas party that he was at, and they fooled around and maybe fooled around a half dozen other times and just remained very close. He's always wanted it to be something bigger, but also knows she's not going to budge on that.
Right.
Because she knows what he is.
Yeah.
She wants him to be better, but she knows what he is. And he can't help but, you know, wonder. He's fishing on behalf of Nacho, but also... he uses the word danger. He says they're in danger, and she picks up on it immediately. She knows that there's something wrong.
She knows him well enough to know when something doesn't fit. That's not drunk Jimmy.
No, it's not drunk Jimmy, and it's also not Jimmy, period, because Jimmy is not that concerned about strangers, especially ones that he's not representing. So she definitely tries to press him on it. He kind of just clams up, but he still can't sleep. So what does he do? He creates a sex robot voice manipulator, modulator.
He did not create it. He just reconstructed it because apparently
he wasted a lot of paper towels.
Yeah, apparently this has been a thing.
That's the classic Jimmy McGill move, is the sex robot. It's classic.
Do you think I'm picturing like a time where he calls her like in the middle of the day with that contraption up to the phone, so that like and that the first time like she didn't know who it was, she just heard this person talking dirty to her in this weird like Kim, what color underwear are you wearing today? Take off your bra. I'm sorry,
exterminate.
Okay.
No, I see that as like one of those. You'd probably call her randomly doing that to like reminisce on the good old times when that was like their thing. That was their funny thing together. So like I think that really shows that they do have a relationship history that's deeper than just friends with benefits. And she's at this huge firm now. She's very professional. She's very for her career, and he's not.
Well, I would say that actually would lean towards friends with benefits because it was very playful. Whatever their relationship was, it was extremely playful. And if it was a full breakup, there's more of a chance that would be awkward to do. But if it was something where it never really changed from where it was to where we are now, it just stayed in this very casual form. And maybe Saul wants that. Jimmy, thank you. I'm
Jimmy
sorry.
Jar.
Sorry. Maybe he wants that, but she doesn't. So she's a lawyer. She's very professional. I do not want anything but what is easy.
It just sounds like she doesn't seem proud when they do hook up. It's kind of like, oh, it happened.
Fair.
I'd liken it to boyfriend and girlfriend together. Girlfriend goes off to college. Boyfriend stays in the podunk town.
Okay.
I don't know about that, but we need to move on.
Anyway.
So he calls the Kellermans. We get this beautiful piece of comedy with this voicemail message. Before that, with the Kettlemans, the Team Kettleman message with the music, it's just like a beautiful, like comedy is just a rhythm, and just to set that up again and again made me so happy.
The worst kind of people.
Yes, and we were so excited. I was so excited for the third time for it to come through, but of course he picks up after all these calls in the middle of the night. And we get this sex robot voice that they can't understand, where he's trying to warn them that they're in danger.
You have a bad connection.
Yeah, just call us back. We can't understand you. And then finally, he's just like, oh, look, you're in danger. Okay, they're coming after your money. Goodbye. And he hangs it up. And they're just kind of like, what? Did he say danger? Danger.
They're coming for us?
Yeah, they?
Yeah.
Let's look out the window. Like,
yeah.
this.
And there's Nacho casing the place so obviously.
Yeah.
And I couldn't help but just be mad at him. Look, I know you got to case the joint. I know that it takes time. But you're right there. I don't know. There's no other way to do it if you're not looking at the place. But seriously, though, to get caught so quickly, I thought this was a rising criminal mastermind. And apparently, not
He's
so.
being sloppy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's well. The thing is, he might have been caught regardless. That neighbor was like, "There's a guy in a van 2 nights in a row, just sitting there." Like the fact that she knew he was there before they even left or called the police. Like he was sloppy beforehand.
Exactly. But by the next morning, we've got a serious problem. So Jimmy is at court, and he's fighting with this idiot lawyer who just drives me insane, drove me up the wall. And I love how he stood up to him this week. We keep seeing flashes of who he's going to become, like the littlest bits of his ability, like even when, and it's pathetic when he's doing it in the prologue, where he's trying to convince Chuck to help him, and we see his way with words and his tenacity at attacking it, but it's just so sad.
It's like, I have to sit here and smell your bowel movements and take $700 a case. You don't even know your client's name. Like, come on.
It was awesome.
It's like 90 days, community service. He drove through a shopping center and killed 12 people.
Yeah.
That's not who we're talking about. We're talking
Right.
about the other guy who hit someone with a bottle of Kahlua. Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. That's
Okay,
fine.
start over.
Yeah, start over? No, this is what you're taking.
I'm taking your folder.
I mean, it looks like this guy is like the county prosecutor, so his caseload must be even higher than Jimmy's.
Yeah.
He probably just wants to get through him quick and just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
not gonna
hoping
budge.
he's hoping for deals that lightens up his day.
Yeah.
But he also is still a prosecutor.
Yeah, no, he should be looking for deals. I don't know why he's being such a jerk about it. But Jimmy gets a call from Kim that the Kettlemans are missing. He tries to rush out, but once again, I don't know what, he should just ask them for a whole sheaf of stickers. Like, just like a pad of
Seriously.
stickers.
Or steal them.
Or steal a pad of stickers. Bribe for a pad of stickers. I don't care. But
do
he
you
needs
know-
more stickers.
How do you know where the button was?
Everyone knows where the button
I don't
is.
know the button was there.
If you go there every day, you see him push it every day.
That's true.
Yeah. So he reaches up, he pushes the button. Something that I think most viewers of the show have wanted at one point or another is to just push that button. But he just zooms out. We know it's a terrible idea. We get a face-to-face between Jimmy and Hamlin briefly outside of the crime scene. And, this guy, we haven't seen too much of him, but I feel like as of next week, we're going to get them really clashing. This guy is obviously, he's dirty in that different way, in that aloof, like, I'm not going to break the law, but at the same time, I'm not going to do what's right if I don't have to, kind of a way.
Well, he's the skeezy guy who just got risen to the top because of Jimmy's brother.
Yeah, because Chuck got sick.
Yeah.
He would never be in charge if Chuck hadn't gotten sick. Yeah, I love watching Jimmy in this situation when he's there and when he's there later, where he's wrestling with the thing and he's positive that Nacho did it. And we get this scene with him at the payphone where he makes call after call after call after call after call, and it's just embarrassing. How'd you guys feel about that?
When he was calling Nacho?
Yeah, when he's calling Nacho over and over and over again, and I'm like, chill.
Oh, that
Yeah.
felt like when you're trying to call up a girl or a
Yeah.
boy,
Yes.
and you're just like, oh, but when that last message, when I said that one word, just don't worry about that. It's like totally not. I didn't mean to be aggressive or anything.
If you took it this way, I didn't mean it that way. I meant this way. Like, hang up. Oh crap! But when I meant that, like, So,
Totally.
I better get off the phone because you might be trying to call me right now.
I was like, stop calling him. 146-8729. I memorized the phone number. He said it so many times. I think.
Okay, before we move on, I need to really quickly talk about iTunes because, folks, the best way to support AfterBuzz TV is to go to iTunes, rate and review the shows that you listen to or that you watch on YouTube. You can also go to youtube.com/AfterBuzzTV and subscribe to our channel. It's quick, it's easy, it doesn't cost you a single solitary dime, and it helps us out immensely. We here at AfterBuzz TV put out over 100 hours of free after-show content every single week. It's the widest array of after-show content anywhere on the web. It's huge. We take a lot of effort and pride and energy making it for you and keeping it free. So, how are you helping us? Every time you give us one of those ratings or reviews, you're helping us attract the sponsors that keep our lights on and our doors open. You also get a great shout out here on the show, and we got some reviews here, 12 ratings and a bunch of reviews on iTunes.
You guys are the best.
Yes, thank you very much. What did I do before AfterBuzz TV? 5 stars from J Renee 424. Love the first after show. Can't wait for more. These guys actually know what they're talking about and always catch stuff I miss. Potential from JP's mommy. Guys, first, enough worrying about Breaking Bad spoilers. If a person listening to you, presume they're fans of Breaking Bad, therefore they're watching Better Call Saul. If they just fell into the show, had the wherewithal to look up your podcast, they clearly want to hear more about the show. Breaking Bad info should not be thought of as spoilers. Better Call Saul is a prequel, for crying out loud. Anyone who complains is a big baby. Look, whether or not you're right, and I can't say either way, the fact is there are still people who will be upset. I know it's been a while since the show's been off the air. We'll find a way to strike a nice balance.
We'll try to warn you if we're going to do something big.
Second, this person says, Saul's brother is clearly sick with cancer and dying. This is not a misdirect. The fear of electronics is his way of rationalizing his situation, getting it under control. No matter how deluded he is, Saul humors him because he loves him. His partners want him to think that he's going to get better, so they won't have to buy him out of his partnership. End of story. I don't see any proof of that anywhere in what we've seen.
Not yet.
So until we get more of that, I don't know how to take that.
He's definitely sick, but I don't think
there
they've shown
is
cancer yet.
there is evidence of electromagnetic sensitivity. That is a condition that people have had.
Well, it's considered a mental condition, not a real condition.
I will speak to that one thing, though, in the first episode. When he says it, he says, don't worry about me. It's just a misdiagnosed electromagnetic sensitivity. So that means they could have hypothetically diagnosed him with cancer, and he doesn't believe them. He says it's the electromagnetic sensitivity.
Got it.
So that could be, but they have not confirmed that.
Got it.
Yes.
4 stars from Razor Jeff, Double Dose of Saul. Discovered AfterBuzz just in time to subscribe to Better Call Saul. Great podcast for anyone who can't get enough of their favorite shows. In the world of Vince Gilligan, every scene begs to be broken down, analyzed, and explored. Just like Breaking Bad, BCS is what I like to call water cooler TV. Great start, guys. 5 stars from Foreign Comic Collector. Starting on the right foot, just like the show. Keep up the good work. Awesome show. 5 stars from Cavs Rock. And another great insider podcast from AfterBuzz. 5 stars from Jay Franny. After religiously listening to AfterBuzz for 4 other series, this was my first go-to podcast for Better Call Saul. As usual, not disappointed. It's great hearing breakdowns and analysis with a mix of humor. Keep up the good work.
Yay.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
By the way, guys, please, if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and take a second, hit that thumbs up. It really helps us out. Maybe even leave a comment. We'll comment back. Really helps us out. We'll take a second.
And that's enough. So we get to meet who I assume are going to be our chief cops, at least for season 1.
Sure.
Our chief cops who are fine at their jobs. As we're waiting for that call. Finally, the call comes, and he, within a split second, picks it up, and it's actually the cops calling, and he runs from them, super pathetic, and they catch up with him so quickly and bring him to jail, where Nacho is already in custody. And I love this scene as Jimmy enters, and we kind of hold on Nacho, and Nacho is kind of maintaining this not quite zen-like calm, but we just know as Jimmy is just tentatively, and that means it's federal, which is bad, and it's just we're just waiting for Nacho to just unload.
Don't
on him.
worry. I think the deal we take here is 18 years
Minimum 18 years.
And you know what? They really do look upon good behavior. That's a thing. So,
Terrible lawyer.
are you setting me up?
Yeah. Well, he's got to be thinking that, right? He had no idea.
I mean, at this point in the process, he assumes that Nacho is guilty, and he's just laying out his options, basically. It's like, if you just cop to it, we can get this from like a life thing down to 16 years. Like, just come forward now. Let's do what we can to make this clean. Like kidnapping, let's not turn kidnapping into murder, you know? Let's keep it simple.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but when I said that voice, I really want Danny Trejo coming back for Better Call Saul.
Oh.
Hey, he's still alive in
Yeah,
this.
his
That would be
head-
great to see Tortuga.
The tortoise.
No, it's okay. According to this one, to this iTunes review, we
Okay.
can say things from Breaking Bad.
And plus, he was like a scene. But
Yeah.
definitely really like the scene. Again, every time I watch the show, I see a scene that I see could be performed in an acting class all over LA. It probably will be the next day. And it's just phenomenal with how the actors play off of each other.
I really have to give a lot of props to, and I feel like we will every week, but giving a lot of props to Bob Odenkirk for hitting all the right notes. In this scene, you could play it so flat, but the mixture of fear and optimism and just pure desperation is beautiful.
Like the nervous laughter.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't want to cut you off. It feels like he has a gun to his head every moment he's in that room before Nacho's even said anything. Like, even when he's on the payphone, it feels like he already has a gun to his head.
Yeah, well, he's got to feel that way because he's dealing with a dangerous dude.
I gotta love how they pulled it off he sees like somebody walking towards him, so he starts running and they tackle him, and it's the cops. It's like, it's just his lawyer.
Yeah. Oh, great. Just his lawyer.
Yeah, he asked for him.
Yeah.
Like,
So
this lawyer's really clingy.
Yeah.
They listen to the voicemail.
seriously, he's got some hangups. But Nacho tells him that he's got a day to get him out of jail. Otherwise, he will have him killed easily.
Oh, yeah.
He
There's
killed-
the gun.
Dude,
Corpse.
Yeah, death will be the least of his worries. Everything that comes before it will be far worse.
So we learned some of the evidence too. Basically, they have the van. They have drops of blood in the van, and Saul's
Belonging
like,
to the Skater Boys and to Saul, not to
Yeah.
Jimmy.
"Your body fluids are in the van, Saul. Like, what are they gonna find? They're gonna find your fluids."
Yeah.
So
Well, that's what I was thinking. I thought he was going to give up that part of it and come up with an excuse of just like he tells them, test the blood in the van. And they're like, it'll take weeks. Even if we did have someone who's DNA matched. He's like, well, okay, so it's not worth it. Not
you
worth
can't.
giving up my position. So instead, thankfully, Kim says it would be a good idea for him to go back to the crime scene. And there was so interesting in watching him analyze this house is like, he's not a super sleuth. He's not the sharpest tool in the shed. He's not a super detective. So I'm like, what is he going to recognize about this place? How, is it going to be believable that he catches something that the cops don't?
I think it's purely that he's coming at it from the angle of, I know that this guy is not responsible. Like, he's able to walk through that house and say, Nacho Vargas is not responsible for whatever happened to these people.
And he didn't
Varga.
tell anyone.
Just Varga.
Varga. So knowing that, what could be the cause, and looking with that angle on it gives you an entirely new perspective, because the cops knew that the doll was missing.
Right.
It's not like they missed that, which is great. I love that the show didn't try to play that angle of like the lawyer caught what the cops didn't catch.
Yeah.
No, they caught it, but he saw it through a different lens, and so was able to discern what actually happened.
I don't mind that angle too much, because lawyers are basically detectives. When you come down to it,
No.
they're supposed to look at a page of information and pick out the things that are wrong so they can use it as a defense.
I just think lawyers are basically detectives is a gross oversimplification.
They have
it's
similar-
it's really an oversimplification. But if anyone's ever seen My Cousin Vinny,
I have seen My Cousin.
which is a great movie,
He does play detective.
it's a guilty pleasure, and
Not guilty pleasure. It's just a great movie.
Joe Pesci anyway. It was similar to that in a
Okay.
way, and I don't mind seeing that every once in a while. I don't want to see it every episode, but I don't mind seeing it once in a while.
Well, I guess what I'm saying, there's no reason he shouldn't have those skills, but there's no reason that he should have skills above that of these Albuquerque police detectives.
Right.
And he
Yeah,
doesn't.
he's-
They found it. They thought about it.
Yeah.
He's not the lead in a Fox procedural. He's not just
He's not
like
Castle.
He's not
Right.
Backstrom.
Yeah, exactly. He's not Backstrom. He's not House. He's not
Yeah.
just an avuncular genius. He is a former con man who essentially conned his way into a law career. And maybe that's where he gets his expertise. But I was surprised that he didn't just point out, hey, did you notice how everything in the house is ruined except for every single photograph? Not one photograph has a cracked frame.
Yeah, it looked like it was almost just placed down because there's a little Smurf figurine right in front of it, and it was standing, up still. So I was like, they must have just went boop and gently placed him down.
So it's like, he didn't point that out. I pointed that out.
Yeah, Zach pointed that out. Zach is a better lawyer than Jimmy McGill.
No, but that was the first clue. But I mean, again, the doll was a bigger thing.
Absolutely, and the cops do not buy it for a second. So he has to come clean to Kim because he needs some kind of perspective. He needs some ally on this. So he breaks his confidentiality and he tells her, like, look, this guy, based on a conversation that I had with him, implied that maybe he was going to do this. And that's why I was so freaked out, justifiably so. And he pushes her to press Hamlin and get Hamlin involved and get him to realize and to get the cops on his side that these people obviously kidnapped themselves. And we start to get a sense of her relationship with Hamlin as well, which is just like she probably could bend his ear on this, but maybe not get him to actually get the cops involved. He would never implicate his own client. What do you think, Pegah?
Yeah, I was like, there's no way he's gonna incriminate his own clients. That's like a big niche.
I feel like Hamlin's probably a bit of a misogynist.
Oh, I'm sure.
So I feel like her relationship with him is she tries to keep anything she has to deal with him to a minimum, so when she needs the favor, she can keep the favor.
She also is probably, Jimmy has already cashed in far too many favors, I have to imagine.
Probably.
Yeah. He's probably asked for a lot, and she's still willing to help, but she's not going to go.
She's not going to do the robot voice.
No, she's not.
She's not going to go the extra mile because she hasn't felt that he's been paying back the favors that he probably owes her at this point.
But would she tell Hamlin that she got that information from Saul or Jimmy?
No. Everyone does it
Jimmy.
at least once.
Look, we know we've watched him for years as one with one name.
Yeah.
It's gonna
It'll
happen,
take
but
a while.
but we're gonna try. We're gonna try our best on this show.
Hashtag Jimmy Jar.
Yeah. So he gets back to the courthouse, and obviously he realizes once he's there, now he has to contend with Mike, who isn't letting him in after totally ripping him off earlier. So Jimmy makes a big stink, and Mike immediately grabs him and puts it, basically looks like he's going to break off his fingers. And then we have our two cops trying to convince Mike, hey man, come on, do the right thing, help us out, you're going to be helping justice. They have no idea that he's an ex-cop. And we finally get to see Mike and Jimmy on the same page for once, as he sees in Jimmy that Jimmy's telling the truth and that his story probably checks out, and these guys are just too stupid to realize it.
Yeah, he probably didn't help Jimmy out of just realizing Jimmy was right. He probably realized it out of just not liking cops doing shoddy work.
Yeah, I actually got the sense that the cops knew his backstory.
Yeah, I figured. Yeah, I think they know that he's an ex-cop.
Yeah, because I think that was the angle they were playing, where it's like, you've been where we are right now. Lend us a hand, fellow cop. But he's just he doesn't. I don't think he likes these.
He doesn't respect them.
Yeah, at all.
Yeah,
because one, he thinks that Jimmy is right, and so he's like, I'm not going to help you guys be wrong. And he's also, Mike is
He's more informed than he lets on.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's just he's somebody as crooked as he is. He does have a sense of justice.
Yeah,
a very strong one.
I was struggling because I want to say Mike's I was gonna say good guy, but that's not quite right.
No,
but you're right. He has a sense of right and wrong. He's just fine with towing that line.
Yeah, it's a sliding scale.
Yeah.
So he tells Jimmy about why he thinks he's right, and then says that they're probably not out of the country, and he gives the story of this bookie who's basically took $6 million in bets, lost, and then just
kept all the money,
made everyone think that he ran away,
and
he was just in a foreclosed house.
Yeah, and
which is a true story, by the way.
Is it? You looked it up?
I've heard that. I didn't look it up, but I heard of it a few years back about somebody who was found they were looking for a long time, and they found him in a foreclosed house in the same neighborhood. So it might not be the exact same situation with the bookie, but
maybe it's just the inspiration.
Yeah.
But in any case, I was convinced, because they showed us that boat and they mentioned the boat at the top of the episode, I was convinced that they were hiding out in that boat, But we missed this one crucial detail on the back of their car, that they love to camp. We get those awful family stickers.
Oh my god.
Also, it's
of course they have those family
Of course,
stickers.
Team Kettle.
I bet they had baby on board things too.
Oh,
and they were
no.
Disgusting.
gross.
I do feel like they would have like checked the boat,
Mm-hmm.
probably.
I don't know. You don't have to check a boat. The whole house is ransacked. Why would they be on the boat?
I mean, well,
T-Pain.
that might be somewhere to stash a body.
Okay, fair enough. But in any case, Jimmy recognizes that they're probably camped out somewhere, and he strikes off into the wilderness with a classic Breaking Bad style montage.
With no planning whatsoever.
None. But, you know, shortly after nightfall, he hears the clarion call of awful campfire songs.
Bingo was his name.
B-I-N-G-O. B-I-N-G-O.
The
Please,
subtle,
no. Please, no.
the subtle, just like of all the songs they pick, it's like bingo.
Yeah.
There they are.
Let's do
It was
one
great.
more Jimmy Crack Corn before bed.
Or John Jacob Jr.
John Jacob Jingleheimer.
And then he's like, here's Johnny. I loved
I'll
that.
call back to the top of the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Beautiful.
Oh god!
I love the
Clearly
movie,
a
like
big
the old
Shining
school
fan.
movie references. Because he did in the first episode where he enters the conference room.
Yeah, Network.
Yeah.
Yeah, Network, and then we had Here's Johnny twice in this episode. And I love how firm he is with these cattlemen of like, no, you don't understand. You need to pack up. You're coming with me, or I'll call the cops, and they'll come to you. And he's
Either way.
fighting with the Mama Kettleman over a bag which splits open, and there's our 1.6 million all in cash. How are they gonna explain this to the kids?
That was all I was thinking. It's like, what are the kids thinking now? Like, they're camping in the woods. They don't want to be there. Why are we here? Why are we staying? And then this strange man just appears shouting, "Here's Johnny" at you.
And there's loads of cash.
And then mom and dad have a bag with $1 million.
1.6
More cash.
million.
And as a kid, like, even now, like, I could not process that much amount of money being in front of me. But as a kid, when just one of those bills is more than you can really process.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing, right? Jimmy could really use that money. He needs that money. It's why he was halfway considering ripping them off, or at the very least just being their lawyer. That was the first goal. I think it's time we talk predictions and figure out what's going to happen in the next episode.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
So, folks, if you did not watch the scenes from next week, I highly encourage you ducking out now, because we are going to talk about them in the course of our predictions. So if you feel like that's spoiler territory, then thank you for watching or listening. We will see you next week. But for the rest of you,
It looks so good.
It looks great. Like, that's the thing is... That's what made me so excited about this episode. It was a bit quieter, but it firmly sets up a lot of great conflict for next episode. Because I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty sure that Jimmy uses this as an opportunity to blackmail the Kettlemans into taking him on as their lawyer.
Yes, I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
It's the perfect way to clear up everything. Like, he doesn't have to turn them into the police. Like, they'll run if he's going to turn them into the police. At this point, they can track him down, but they have to believe him first. But it's a way to get them back in there, to get Nacho off the hook, but also, like, he doesn't have to tell the police any of the specifics of what they were doing out there because of attorney-client privilege.
Exactly. And it'll stick one to Hamlin, which I'm sure he's very excited about doing. Because he already considers what Hamlin did as poaching his client.
But the complication there is if he poaches that client, he takes a huge opportunity away from Kim. Because remember, she was talking about how she's going to get second chair if it goes to trial as like a huge career step. So he's screwing over one of his good friends to help himself out. And now he's stuck. Like... He has to do it because otherwise he's going to get shot. Yeah. But...
Steven, you've been very quiet. Are you on the same page with us in terms of how the top of the next episode's going to
go? Not quite sure. I'm just looking forward to next week.
Okay.
I feel like Nacho's pissed. He knows he's been ratted out. He's pissed at Jimmy.
Well, he thinks he's been ratted out.
And
technically he was, but not to the cops.
So at this point, I think Jimmy's going to have to get Mike's help because he knows his whole ex-cop story, background, whatever. So he's going to get Mike's help. He's going to become the Kettleman's lawyer. And some crazy stuff's going to go down. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he's definitely going to become the Kettleman's lawyer, and that's going to start off a great conflict between he and Kim, between he and Hamlin. I don't think that the relationship with Mike is going to escalate quite yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
I think they've reached a nice equilibrium. The new status quo is we are at loggerheads. We will continue to clash, but we do have some modicum of respect for each other. Mike for Jimmy in that he recognizes that Jimmy noticed something that the cops didn't, and Jimmy for Mike in terms of helping him out. So, I don't know. Maybe he'll get some more stickers.
Or do you think Mike will, like, let the stickers slide next time?
No, not a chance. No way. No. You got to get the stickers.
Troll bridge.
Yeah.
Rich troll.
Do we think that Nacho gets out of prison next week?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any hesitation. Once the Kettlemans are there and they're not pointing fingers at Nacho,
Yeah.
they can't hold him.
Yeah.
I guess they could.
Can't they on the blood?
But all he has to say is, like, I got hurt in the back of my truck, my van, and they can't hold you for having your own blood spilled. Like, unless there's a crime that they're tying it to.
Right.
You can't charge someone just because there was blood on a truck.
What if they test it and it says it's not his?
Well, that would take several weeks, so that's something that might pop up by the end of the season.
And again, not being his isn't enough to, like, convict him of anything.
Yeah, that's true. It's not the...
They would have to, like, have the Skater twins' DNA on file, and then the Skater twins would have to have filed some sort of... Like, he could even claim, like, he found them broken-legged on the side of the road and took them to the hospital. Like...
True.
There's a lot of ways that, especially with Jimmy here as his lawyer, he could get out of it.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, folks, I think that's going to be all for us this week. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will be back next week with an all-new episode with Ray Seahorn. So if you want to ask us any questions for Ray for here on the show, you can tweet at us using the hashtag ABTVSaul.
I do want to say something because we do tape before the East Coast airing ends. We are going to be doing our live show at midnight that night. So if you want to watch the show, watch it at midnight. That's when it will be available.
Okay. Right. All right. Zach,
essentially, we will not be able to take your questions live, so tweet us beforehand.
Tweet us beforehand.
But you'll be able to watch it as an event on YouTube at midnight.
Great. Zach.
You guys can follow me on Twitter at @ZachWilson, ThatZachWilson. Whole bunch of other shows here at AfterBuzz. Helix, we had a lovely interview with Mr. Neil Napier earlier tonight. Grimm, Agent Carter, bunch of other shows. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Hey guys, you can find me on Twitter at Stephen Lemieux, StephenLemieux, as well as check out an interview I did with Jason Hervey earlier today about Outlaw Country on WGN. Check it out.
Awesome. And I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Pegah Rad.
Okay, and you can find me on Twitter at Matt Lieberman. That's MattLieberman. You're going to find all my videos on my personal channel, youtube.com/c/Matt Lieberman. You can also find me on SourceFed and SourceFed Nerd, Helix, and Banshee here on AfterBuzz. I want to thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next week. Good night.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Better call you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.